Yeah. Yo, what's up, everyone? Today I wanted to come with a semi-hot take. I don't know if everyone's going to agree on this one. I mean, no one agrees on everything, but I don't think there's a single thing that we all agree on. But there's something that I wanted to talk about that I've always been confused with, which is the idea of proving people wrong. Someone says, "Oh, you can't do this. You're not qualified. You're not skilled enough to do a podcast. You're not qualified. You're not skilled enough to be a YouTuber, to be a rapper, to be whatever you want to be." And create. And usually people are like, "Ah, man, they're just hating, man. Prove them wrong. I can't wait to wake up and grind to rub it in their face that I could make it." And for some reason, that never really clicked with me. It never really clicked with me. That concept of proving people wrong. You know, you're right, and people are saying you can't do it, so do it to prove them wrong. I always did music and did creations and created what I wanted to create, or at least the stuff that I've stuck with because I love it. And people will try to hate on it. People will say, "Yo, you can't do this." It doesn't make me feel like I have to prove them wrong. It makes me feel like, "Oh man, that sucks that you don't believe in me. I thought you were in my corner, and that sucks that you don't believe in me." It just hurt, honestly. But I still do music and do the things I love because I love them, not to prove people wrong. And I mean, everyone's different, but whatever you're doing, whatever you're pursuing creatively, make sure it's like, do you love it? Do you love what you're doing? Do you love what you're creating? Or are you doing it to prove somebody wrong? Because I don't know if that's love. Because what happens once you prove that person wrong? Are you going to stay with it? Like, are you going to stay with what you're doing? Or once you prove somebody wrong, it's just going to go away? You were using creation as a stepping stone to prove somebody else wrong. And deep down in a situation like that, I'd say you still care about that person's opinions. It's the same way with like, yo, someone rejected me. A girl rejected me in high school. I can just talk about that example. That it's true, right? I could be like, "Yo, I can't wait till I become a big artist, a big rapper, a big creator, and I have something to provide to where they can come back to me and I can get what I want." But it's like, that's not really moving on. That's not really focusing on what you love. You're using something else. You're not truly moving on from their opinions, is what I'm trying to say. You're not truly moving on from their opinions. So if I wasn't moving on from their opinions, it's like, "Oh, they reject me." I'm like, "Okay, well, if I get this, this, and this, if I get all the money in the world, then I could finally have you." That's not moving on from that person's opinion. You still care about their opinion. You're still letting them have control in your life. Moving on is accepting that, okay, well, some people are not going to believe in me, and I can't use their opinion to control my life and control what I love. And letting go of their opinion, letting go of them, letting go of potentially having them as a relationship in the future. That's moving on for me and focusing on what you love. And sometimes I don't want to necessarily say you got to do this and that, because life is extremely complex, and you could be in a situation where you start doing it by proving somebody wrong and you end up growing a love towards it. So it's not as simple as you need to always be precise and correct with every single point, because there is a place for being wrong. There always is a place for making mistakes, but there is a place for wrong mistakes being right things or right decisions. Wrong mistakes being right decisions. There is a place where sometimes failures in psychology, making these mistakes and getting out of your direction can sometimes get you farther than what you thought. And not just in success, but in mentally. And it feels weird for me saying that, because why would I give this advice if mistakes sometimes can get you farther than following? But the reason I say that is because I started rap because people said I was good. I did poetry and people said I was good, and people told me to get into rap. I did rap not because I loved it, but because people told me that I was good at it. And I don't know if I just contradicted myself by saying I did rap because I love it, but once I actually listened to rap, I grew a deep love for it. So I started this by saying doing things to prove people wrong is a bad thing, but it might help you grow your love for something. So nothing's entirely bad and good. And that's what I'm kind of learning too. But to just remember that trying to do something to prove somebody wrong is still valuing their opinion and having them have control in your life. You're not letting go from that person. They're still important. They're still valuable. And in order to truly move on and focus well on what you love, I think you just got to let go of that. Let go of the fact that they might not like you. Not everyone's going to like you. People are going to reject you in life too. Not everyone's going to find you attractive or good enough to be a partner. And to hold that to be like, oh, one day I'll change. One day I can get something that's going to convert somebody. One day I can get money that's going to make someone who once said I couldn't do something on my side. That's just not how life works. We see that. We see people get used by money. We see how you can buy and you can get people if you just give them enough money, like enough of something. Everyone has a price. We see how people can change colors. But truthfully, we shouldn't live a life, I think, depending on the fact that people can change, depending on the fact that someone can switch. Oh, if I have enough money, someone's going to date me, or someone's who once hated me is not going to hate me anymore. We shouldn't live like that. I'm thinking because I don't want to just keep saying things without thinking. But moving on from that, moving on from the people who doubt you, the people who don't like you, and truly understanding everyone's got their own perspective and own opinion. And you don't need to convert everyone, because no matter what, there's just some people who are not going to like you, not going to find you good enough, no matter what you do. And that is not a bad thing at all. That is not a bad thing at all. That's just preferences. And letting go of people's opinions, I think, does a lot to that. There's a very helpful part of this toxicity of being like, oh, I want to prove you wrong. Oh, I want to work out every single day so I'm good enough for you to date. But at the same time, you got to understand what you're in. Yes, this toxicity can help us create and help us improve ourselves, help us get the drive needed to be where we want to be. But long term, it's not a long-term drive, because it's still dependent on that one person. It's not on you. You're not doing it because you love it. But sometimes that toxicity, and this episode's a ramble. This episode's all over the place. But the point I'm trying to make, and I've just realized while recording it, I didn't come in to say this, but now that I'm talking about it, sometimes that toxicity of wanting to improve yourself can help you find the love to improve yourself. I used to work out in 2020 because a girl rejected me in 2020. And now I work out in 2020 or work out in 2022 because I understand that it makes me feel energized. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel in control. It makes me feel like, damn, I did it. I used to start music because people told me I was good enough to do it, but trying to base it on people's opinions. And then I realized, like, I go to high school and I'd be crying in the front of the school listening to Marcus's Gospel by Hobson. I would connect deeply with these songs and developed a deep, intrinsic love for music. But sometimes that comes from toxicity, which is something I'm still trying to struggle. What is the place for toxicity in our society? Because you can't just shun it. And that's something I originally thought. Toxicity should be shunned. But I'm realizing, no, it has a place. I just haven't figured it out yet. And I'm on the journey to figuring it out. But sometimes it can help you more, and it can help you find that love. We discovered something today, because I did not know that. But just understand what you're in. If you're in this to prove, if you're trying to prove someone wrong or trying to level up after rejection, understand what you're in. And you can appreciate it. There's a love for it. You can find a way to appreciate that leveling up, that toxicity in a way, because it could serve a purpose that is positive, and it could help you find your loves. Just know what you're in. And I'm gonna try to do that too. I'm gonna try to know what I'm in, because there's a place for every emotion. We just haven't found it out yet.